Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at 20 building tips for the forest. Let's get started. Tip 1. Now, I always gather as I move. So rocks, so I'm going around getting logs. I'll make sure I get a full capacity of rocks and sticks so that when I head back I can build my stone walls and my stick fences, and it basically makes things go much more quickly. So you really need to have walls that are made from sticks and rocks, or structures that need these particular ingredients on the go. Tip 2, something that's really handy: if you've got a base and you got your fences up around it, you can park your log sleds next to the fences and just reach through and grab the logs that way. It saves you having to bring the sled into the compound. You can see here I've just grabbed a couple of logs. It's just a nifty little thing. It's as if you're reaching over the fence. Just got to click F and grab the log, and that makes it very quick and easy. You may not realise it, but you can transport logs via zip ropes or zip lines. All you got to do, gather them up and then hold the log up to the zip line, press C, and it zooms down the line. I've got this one set up heading down to my base. Flying there. Oh, try not to fall too far. Gather your logs. And you can see there, it's quick, it's efficient. I have found that logs do despawn sometimes if you send too many down, which can be a bit of a problem. But it's very quick. You're not going to do huge quantities of logs that way necessarily. The log sled is more efficient in that respect, but it definitely provides something that is a quick fix. Tip 4. Another advantage to having lots of structures on the go is it shows you on the bottom left hand corner of the screen how many items you need, how many resources you need, and you can see there's a list here. Now at the moment it says I need 28 sticks and I have 11 on me, and it's a good little indicator to show you, just a visual indicator, how many resources you are carrying. Don't forget that when you save the game and log out, all the logs that you've got lying on the ground will despawn. You can counter this by building log racks where you can store them, or keeping them on the sled and they will not despawn. Tip 6. I found, just through the amount of hours I've played, that cannibals really attack these log doors. These are really easy to build. 5 logs go up pretty quickly, but for some reason they boom in on the door. So they are a very vulnerable piece of your settlement. Tip 7, following on from that, I build these stone passageways or corridors up to vulnerable spots of my base. So these wooden doors, for example, there are only limited ways of creating doors in game. And what I found is the cannibals, they rarely go for these stone walls, and they're pretty resilient. And actually it's the same for the mutants. They tend not to go for these stone walls as well, and they never go down these passages. So it's like a little safe passage that protects vulnerable areas for your settlement. Tip 8. You'll often find that the land where you built your first structure is flat, but then as you expand out it maybe slopes or it becomes hilly. To counter that, you can build these platforms. We go through to the guide here. They are called custom foundations. Basically, you can set a level with these, and therefore if you want to build a house or a tower on here, it will be level and look all the better for it. Tip 9. The best light in game is the skull lamp. You can see it here. There are a number of different types of skull lamp. I like the standing ones. I use them all over my bases, and the reason why I think they're so good is they never go out. They last forever, and they provide a fairly decent radius of light. It's the skull lamp. If you're going to be harvesting the bones of the cannibals, and I strongly recommend that you do, make sure before you start burning the bodies that you've used up all the skulls from your inventory. And this is because the minute you step out of the room to use the skulls to then come and gather the ones that you've got lying on the floor, you'll find that they've despawned. Skulls do not remain on the ground for very long, so use them up before you start burning those grisly bodies. Tip 11. Now you can see here we've got the cannibals, and we have the fence before them. Now this is bone and stick fence. I found that they rarely attack these fences, and that they are really good defences. It's really weird. They seem to just run past them or try and jump over them, but never really succeed. So I use these around my base and have found them very effective. Tip 12. My favourite trap is the happy birthday trap. You can see that here. Just there. It does take quite a bit to build, but they are awesome. You put them between walls, the cannibals will try and run over them, as you can see here. They spring them and are instantly killed. Sometimes they do jump over the trigger, but more often than not they will run into them and die. They also serve as an alarm, because you can hear the happy birthday trap go off for about half a mile away. It seems quite a long way off, and then you'll know that cannibals are in the area. Tip 13. My second favourite trap is the deadfall trap. You can see it here. It's 3 sticks and 3 logs, which is really cheap. And the best place to put these, I've found, is alongside fences. They line up perfectly. The cannibals will run along in this direction as they're trying to get into your compound and trigger the trap. It only takes 1 to kill a cannibal. You can take damage from these as well, so be careful, and the mutants also take quite a lot of damage from these. Tip 14. I will often surround my initial base in one complete stone wall. They are the best protection against attack. But how do you get back into that base? You could build steps or stairs, but they do get attacked and be damaged quite easily. What I tend to do is put a tower in behind stone walls and then a rope, and I'll have a little gap where I can access that rope between 2 of the stone walls. And although the stone walls do take some damage sometimes, I find I can just jump, press F and scamper up that rope to the tower so that the mutants and the cannibals cannot reach me, and I can shoot down on them from a height. So again, it's using stone walls to protect the weaker structures. Tip 15. You have to beware the hit zones of the mutants. They're bigger, more powerful. If they hit a wall, a stone wall, say for example, that is very close to a wooden structure, if we have a look here, you can see these walls are quite close to this wooden structure. If a mutant hit this wall here, he would damage the wooden structure as well and potentially knock down the tower. Now, to try and counter that, you can build more stone walls further away from the structure so that when it does hit, the hit zone or the ricochet of damage doesn't damage that tower. Just bear that in mind. Try not to build your stone structures that are protecting the wooden structures too close to them. Tip 16. Zip lines are a great way to travel quickly back into your base. I use them as an escape route or just to speed things up. But that really isn't the tip here. The tip for this is you mustn't underestimate the importance of rope and cloth, especially in the later stages of the game. You can see here I've got 11 cloth. 7 cloth makes a rope, and that goes towards making skull chandeliers and zip lines. So for this one I needed 10 rope. Really important to gather your cloth and collect together the rope. Just bear in mind you can only carry 4 rope, so make sure you use that up before you go hunting or searching for rope or cloth. Tip 17, and this may be something they take out of the game at some point, but if you build your water troughs inside, they still fill up even if they've got a roof over the top of them. So it's raining outside at the moment and these have filled up. I'm just filling up my water skin. Tip 19. Once I've established my base, I find that building perimeter fences really helps keep the mutants and the cannibals away. Now, I tend to do this using the fence and the bones, and as I said before, they don't tend to attack these. I find it just lowers the numbers. And at the moment, if we head down this way, I'm currently building a bone fence along here. What I've found is they just tend not to roam these areas once you get a certain amount of fences up. It just reduces the influx of cannibals. I'm at 130 days here and don't really see the cannibals that often. So sectioning off areas of the map near your base really does help, and it allows you time to build and grow and become more powerful. If I want to get a little sled full of logs into the base, I find having a double door system built into your stick and bone fence very handy. Now to build this, you have to face one way to build this door and then the other way to build that door when you're doing defensive walls. Now you lay out your defensive walls and then you change it into a door by holding down R. Gives you the option. And that way it's wide enough to get the sled through, and then you can be more efficient by taking all the logs down to the other side of the base rather than having to run through this section. It just speeds things up. 20. And one that I find very handy is that custom floors, you can see here, these ones here, custom floors, they do clip to surfaces. So for example here, if you build one stone wall, they will clip to that top of that stone wall if you want to. You can see here it's clipping to that, and if I did one here, clip to that there. Also obviously does it to the wooden walls and a whole range of things actually. It's really handy. They're really cheap to build, and you can see here I did the floor and the ceiling with these custom floors. Very handy. You can actually build a slanting wall, but it doesn't look as good in my mind, and you certainly can't build on top of it. Alright, so those are my 20 building tips for the forest. I hope you found them useful. You can see that I put them into action in this build, and if you're interested in finding more out about this particular build, then there is a video, the link for which is hopefully on the screen now. So guys, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, add them down below, any questions, and if you like this video, click the thumbs up, and if you haven't subbed already, it would be awesome if you could. So guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.